I'm not sure why she's so nervous to say what she means. What do you mean?
No. I'm saying exactly what I mean. I'm saying, have we got any of those grooming gangs in London?
Sadiq Khan questions the use of controversial term in heated exchange during questioning. You're not going to believe what just happened. During what was supposed to be a routine questioning session, London Mayor Sadiq Khan suddenly stopped the discussion cold, asking for clarification on a term that's been dominating headlines for years. The moment was tense. The room fell quiet. You could feel the unease. He leaned forward, looked directly at the assembly member questioning him, and said, "Can you please define what you mean by that term?" That single question, simple as it sounds, set off a firestorm that's now spreading across social media, political circles, and talk shows across the UK. Let's break this down. The exchange happened during a public hearing where Khan faced a barrage of questions about London's policing priorities, crime prevention, and public safety. But the session took a sharp turn when one of the assembly members asked how certain crimes are reported and categorized, used a highly charged term that's often weaponized in political debates. Instead of responding directly to the question, Khan paused and challenged the language itself. He asked for clarity, saying that such terms are often used politically and can stigmatize entire communities if not handled carefully. Now that's a bold move. Some called it a necessary correction. Others saw it as dodging the question. And just like that, a simple exchange over phrasing turned into a national conversation about language, accountability, and political framing. Within minutes, clips of the moment hit Twitter, or X, as it's now called. One user wrote, "Finally, someone standing up to the misuse of loaded words. About time." Another fired back, "He's just avoiding the real issue. This is classic political spin." Comments poured in by the thousands. Hashtags trended. You could practically watch the country split down the middle in real time. Now, here's where things get really interesting. This isn't the first time Sadiq Khan has faced criticism over how he approaches sensitive topics. As mayor of London, he's often found himself walking a tightrope trying to balance free speech, community trust, and political accountability all at once. For years, he's been accused by opponents of soft-pedaling certain issues, while supporters say he's one of the few leaders actually trying to shift the narrative away from racially charged labels. So when he asked for that clarification, it wasn't just a question. It was a statement loud and clear. He was saying, "Words matter." Political commentators jumped in almost instantly. One columnist on LBC said, Khan was right to ask for clarity because politicians use these phrases to signal outrage, not to solve problems. Another writer from The Telegraph argued, the mayor's obsession with semantics distracts from the real crisis. People want solutions, not lectures. And that's the tension right there. On one side, the argument for sensitivity, accuracy, and fairness. On the other, frustration over what some call political correctness gone too far. Why does this matter so much? Because language shapes perception. And perception drives policy. When governments, media, and law enforcement start labeling crimes or communities in a certain way, it affects public trust, funding, and even how justice is delivered. That's why Khan's interruption struck such a nerve. He wasn't just asking for a dictionary definition, he was questioning the entire framing of how Britain talks about crime, identity, and responsibility. Still, even some of his allies admitted, the timing couldn't have been worse. With London facing rising concerns about public safety and policing standards, critics argue that the mayor should focus more on solutions than on semantics. One Labour insider reportedly told a local journalist, Sadiq has a point about language, but right now, people want action. They want reassurance. That's the political dilemma. How to navigate complex, emotionally charged debates without alienating voters who just want answers. Meanwhile, Khan supporters are pushing back hard, saying this kind of questioning shows leadership. A community organizer from East London said in an interview, he's not dodging. He's forcing the country to look at how we talk about these things. That takes courage. And it's true, taking a stand on language might seem small, but in politics, words can win or lose elections. By the evening, the clip had already been dissected by nearly every major outlet. BBC called it a defining exchange. GB News labeled it a tense standoff. The truth? It was both. It was tense and defining because it showed how even a single question can pull back the curtain on Britain's deep divisions over race, security, and political correctness. And here's something worth noting. Khan's decision to push back didn't come out of nowhere. In past interviews, he's spoken openly about the danger of language being used to other or dehumanize groups, especially in times of fear or crisis. That perspective, while praised by some, has also made him a lightning rod for criticism from those who feel politicians are too cautious, too scripted, too afraid to say it like it is. So now, as Parliament continues its discussions on public safety and community protection, Khan's moment of pause, that single call for clarity, may end up echoing far longer than anyone expected. Because beyond the politics lies a deeper question, one that's not going away anytime soon. How do you talk about difficult issues without turning people into targets? How do you demand accountability without using words that divide? And that's what people are debating tonight, not just what Khan said, but what it means for the country's future. Because if this moment tells us anything, it's that language isn't just communication, it's power. And whoever controls the words often controls the story. So as this clip continues to make waves online, and as politicians line up on both sides of the argument, one question remains. Was Sadiq Khan right to challenge the term, or did he just hand his critics another headline? Either way, this story's far from over.